Before this tournament, um, Ronaldinho made a statement disowning this Brazilian team. And then a few weeks later, Ronaldo said he would rather watch tennis than football. I mean, they were right. Brazil has changed. Football has changed. And this isn't me being nostalgic about the past, you know. The lack of self-expression in modern football has become a pet peeve of mine. You know, system over skill, athleticism over technique. My brother and I used to make fun of players who just kick the ball in a straight line and run after it. But now, pace and power get you multi-million dollar contracts. If there's any justice, if there's any hope for this tournament, I hope Colombia wins it. You know, just for the simple fact that Colombia are direct and fun to watch. But I digress. Uruguay beat Brazil 4-2 on penalties to book their place in the Copa America semi-final versus Colombia. Where do I even begin with this game? It's definitely one of the worst games of football I have ever watched. Off the top of my head, I think Portugal versus Netherlands in the 2006 World Cup is also up there with one of the worst games I've watched. But this one was just shocking and completely devoid of any quality whatsoever. First, it was the fouls. It felt like every 2 minutes there was a foul. The referee was overlooking some obvious calls and giving some needless ones to players crowding around the referee. But I have to say the red card was fully deserved. That tackle could have broken Rodrigo's ankle. But I know what to expect from Uruguay. They are historically just tough to beat and are physical. But my goodness, Brazil is just awful. There were periods in the game where they were constantly playing long balls to Endrick and Rodrigo. Those two players combined are exactly about 3 feet tall. And you expect to outjump the likes of Araujo and Oliveira in the back. You know, Brazil was so afraid to pass the ball. They just resorted to kicking it long. I know Neymar has his critics, but without a doubt, they have lost a lot of natural flair and creativity. He single-handedly has made Brazil relevant for the last 10 years because this current crop of players for Brazil, without a shadow of a doubt, are the worst players I've ever seen. But even after Uruguay went a man down, Brazil somehow managed to be even worse. I'm not sure how Real Madrid will turn Endrick around. He's 17. You know, I'll give him time. And I'm not one to jump on the hype train whenever players are crowned as the next Neymar or the next Pele. You know, it's foolish to even put him in that category. But if this game is anything to go by, he has a lot to do. There are players around his age or even younger like Kendrick Paez, Yamal, and even Goulet, who right now are miles ahead of him in terms of their ability and decision making on the ball in tight spaces. There was a moment in the first half where Brazil had a promising counterattack, and when you need some composure from your striker, he throws himself at the defender. I think it was Araujo, throws himself at Araujo looking for a foul. And rightfully so, the referee told him to get up and waved play on. But I was just thinking to myself in that moment, what does Endrick gain by trying to draw a foul there? Even if they get the free kick, Brazil could not keep up physically with Uruguay at set pieces. So the best thing to do was to attack space at every opportunity, and they failed. That counterattack was a chance for them to do something. You know, he was clumsy on the ball, either running past the ball or constantly complaining about fouls. But Real Madrid somehow need to unlock his potential soon, or at the very least make him a squad player because, listen, I know he's only 17, but I truly don't see anything special in Endrick. Um, thank God the referee blew the final whistle, even before the 5 minutes of added time was up. Militao has been out for Madrid for most of the season, and for some reason was Brazil's first penalty taker, and it was a poor penalty. Douglas Luiz's penalty also hit the post, and that basically sealed Brazil's fate. The Brazilian aura is well and truly gone. Some of us who are fortunate to witness the great Brazil teams of the mid-90s and 2000s can only look back and appreciate that type of football. But right now, Brazil are like, they're like that guy you meet who constantly talks about that one thing they did in the past. Even when the topic, of conversation changes, they always go back and talk about how they did that one thing long ago that no one even cares about anymore. That is Brazil now. Brazil is that guy. They are stuck in the past and they just can't move on. If I hear this team somehow being associated with Joga Bonito and silky football, that's not just a myth now. It's a downright lie. Brazil are boring and just not worth watching at all.